Christmas. Today I will read you Shokshu number 19, Willpower. The focused willpower penetrates even stone. This naturally arising state of mind silences even the storm and thunder. Where does this state of mind come from? The person who accomplishes important tasks understands this power from experience. When we calm the waves of our mind, from molecules to atoms to electrons, we experience our great willpower, which is the universal willpower. This morning is the third transcript from our seminars in May this year in Europe. It took place in Mataró, which is a small town outside of Barcelona. And we discussed or explored this, what Doi Sensei says to us, probably the most often repeated phrase by Doi Sensei, which is the purpose of our practice is to become one with the universe. Right? So what does this mean? How do we do that? If that's the purpose of our practice, then we all have this same purpose. We may have different purposes in our personality, in our everyday life, in our work or in our relationships. We have various purposes, but this is the ultimate purpose. This is the purpose of being here in this body. And he says our practice is to awaken to this purpose. So what kind of practice can we do that will awaken us to this purpose? Of course, we cannot control what happens outside of us. For the most part, what happens, happens. And what is significant is our response or our reaction to what happens. So the first big awakening we have on our path to becoming one with the universe, becoming awakened to this unification, is when we notice that how we think or how we speak or how we act in reaction to what's happening around us is responsible for how we feel in our bodies. And since becoming one with the universe is not just an idea that we think about and conceptualize, but is actually something we must experience. Experience is another word for feeling. Experience is what takes place in our mind-body. So when we feel something, we're referring to that which takes place, which is the state of mind-body that we have in any moment. So our practice is to bring our awareness, our attention, our noticing to each moment and see what it is that we're doing that affects how we feel. So if we notice that what we think or say or do in reaction to the world around us makes us feel good about ourselves, then we'll probably practice more of that in the future. And if we find that what we feel in reaction, in response to what we think or say or do is bad, if we don't feel good about ourselves, then we certainly have a responsibility not to continue to think or speak or act that way. It sounds pretty simple, but it's not so easy. because it doesn't happen overnight like that. It's a long, slow, patience requiring process for each of us. No one escapes. So we all have to find a way to just continue to be present. Just continue to practice Shugyo, to bring our awareness here to the moment. The side effect, or the side effect, the result of paying attention is what we call calmness. And the deeper our attention goes, the deeper our calmness, the calmness is that we experience. And when we're calm, we can see more clearly. Confusion disappears. Doubt, worry, anxiety all disappear. Because we're in full attention. We have full awareness in the moment. So that's why we talk about calmness so much in Aikido. But I can't just tell you, oh, you should be calm. I can tell you, if you want to be calm, then please pay attention, because the side effect of paying attention is this calmness. And the result of this calmness is incredible clarity, enhanced realization of our purpose, the oneness of the universe. I think that's enough. Let's have some key breathing now. Sorry about my phone. In our daily life, we remind ourselves. We get surprised. We surprise ourselves, maybe is a way to put it. And this is a good example of that is in this transcript, where this woman that was working hard to take care of the seminar, she was running the seminar for us. And we were later in the day going to come to this lady's home, this woman's home, for dinner. And she was trying to prepare everything at home and run back to the dojo, back and forth, and she was pouring water out of a pitcher, preparing something, and she dropped the pitcher and spilled water all over everything. And so she told us at the dojo about this experience. And suddenly, she said, she realized she had been completely absent, planning, worrying, harassing herself about the future of all these things that had to happen, instead of taking care of the one thing she was doing at that moment. So noticing, bringing our awareness to the present and noticing what we're thinking, what we're saying, if we are doing, can be critical, can be a life and death situation. Accidents happen when we're not present. So, this practice is also very practical, as we say. Mind to keep us alive, at least keep us from small accidents. Okay, I'd like to hear someone, if you have any questions about this purpose of our practice, of our life, anything about this, please speak up.
Morning, Sensei.
Good morning, Renee.
Is this calmness, it seems this calmness comes from just giving the thinking mind a break. just letting it, just realizing that it doesn't have to run everything. Just suspend it in a sense. Could you speak to that, please?
Well, I would say that the thinking mind doesn't have to run anything. It's giving itself a break when it says, well, I don't have to run everything. I'll let you have a few crumbs here and there, sir. Don't you think so?
Yes.
We are well trained in survival. We don't have to think about survival. We just have to be present, and then we're alive. Because when we're thinking about surviving, succeeding, however you want to put it, we're absent from the moment. You might think, sometimes we think, well, if I'm thinking about something, I'm present thinking about it. But what you're thinking about is not actually what's happening in this moment here. Yeah, it's one of the things that you're, how do we say, occupied with. But there are other things going on around you and within you that might be critical to your survival. And all we have to do is just pay attention. And we're able to be present and alive. And we're not paying attention, even if the purpose of not paying attention is to survive. We are not surviving. We are not doing ourselves any favor. Yeah, so the mind, sometimes we call it the ego. It's this sense of ourself being the sole agent in our lives, that we do everything, that everything happens because of us. Well, in some sense, that's true. But the part of us that is usually taking credit for that may not be the part that is actually functioning as the agent of that. We cannot consciously make our heart stop or start. At least I can't. And I think most people can't. Maybe I heard about some yogis that can. Don't know how they do that. We have to breathe. You can't stop yourself from breathing. We have to eat sooner or later. We have to drink water. We have to stay healthy. These are things that we don't necessarily have control over. There are people starving that are not immediately able to do anything about it. There's something going on here that we need to pay attention to, in other words. And we're generally busy planning our future while our life is going on and missing the life itself. Yeah, let's be free of that.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Renee. Someone else, please. There's certain people here that I hear from often. But there's quite a few of you I never hear from at all. Please feel free, if you don't usually speak, to say something about your experience in relation to this.
Good morning, Sensei.
Good morning.
Hello,
My name's
Curtis.
Alex.
Sensei. This is
Sorry, there you are. Hello, Alex. Oops, what happened? You went away again.
Sorry, I think someone else was trying to
Okay.
use their mic as well.
One at a time.
In reference to the Shokushu today of willpower, There's a reading right before it of the way-seeking mind, Kyudoshin, and just listening to the traits of being present in the moment seems a very natural state that animals I feel like experience often. And in the Kyudoshin reading, it speaks that animals can't experience the way-seeking mind, but it almost seems like in our practice we're trying to approach a less thoughtful state that animals may exhibit for us. And I was wondering if you had
Oh, I
any
think I see
comment.
what you're saying. Yeah, the wonderful thing about animals is that they're completely present all the time, no matter what. They have no choice. They don't have a thinking mind. They don't wander off and think about something. They're in a life and death situation at every moment. Even my cat, who you watch it lying on the bed during the day sleeping, you think not to life and death, but when something happens, that cat is fully awake and aware. So animals are completely present all the time. But the one thing that what Toi Sensei means about that is they don't have the privilege of self-awareness. Now, human beings have this privilege, this capacity to be self-aware. In other words, be aware of the self being aware. Awareness aware of itself. Animals don't have that. We do have that, but we have perverted it into thinking only about ourselves and our survival. And so the practice that we're talking about, that Toi Sensei is teaching us, to be present and just notice what's going on, just positively use this special gift we have that animals and plants and rocks and dirt don't have. They're a perfect example of being present, but they don't know they're present. So we know it. We bring our awareness to it and just notice. And when our awareness and our presence are both free and present and aware and awake, we are filled with an abundance of joy, which is completely different than any other kind of emotion that we have. Usually emotions come about directly from our thoughts about something, or a conversation with somebody, or something we're doing with someone. We have emotional reaction that has to do with our relationship. That's fine, but that's not the kind of joy. You can have great joy that way, but that's not the kind of joy we feel when unification occurs, when our awareness and our presence become one thing, and we're not being taken away anywhere from our complete life, which is right here. When we have this experience, this is stunning and available to all of us at every moment, but for the most part, we're not paying attention. We're somewhere else. We're using that gift we've been given for other purposes.
Thank you, Sensei.
Hi, sure, thank you.